Hey, it's Steve McCready, and I want to talk for just a couple minutes here about one of the big mistakes I see a lot of the small business owners I work with make. And that's that they get so focused on quantity of time worked that they lose sight of quality. And what really happens is they don't take the time to recharge and refuel themselves. And so they end up getting kind of burned out, and their work becomes very inefficient, very ineffective, very unfocused. But it's really, really easy to not recognize that that's going on. Because, well, cars, to use a comparison, you know when your car's out of gas or running out of gas because there's this gauge that tells you, right? Makes it really simple. Humans, we don't have a gauge. Not like that anyway. And when we run out of gas, we don't just stop the way a car does, right? We malfunction in all kinds of different ways. And so it's really easy to lose sight of this. But the reality is, like, if you were going on a road trip, well, you'd plan for refueling stops because it's just necessary and you wouldn't think anything about it. Well, as humans, we absolutely need refueling stops. And you have to think about that when you're looking at how you're going to manage and run your business and your life. And the thing is, it's really easy to see these activities that are refueling as not productive, right? As goofing off or play. But the reality is that's a really, really important part of things, and it's actually recharging. It's refueling is what you're doing. That's what I tell my clients all the time. You're not goofing off, you're refueling, and it's really important. Now, how much of it do you do? How often? Well, since we don't have a gas gauge, it's not one of those things where we can just wait until the gauge gets low and goes, oh, time to refuel. So instead, we have to act the same way we would if we had a car that didn't have a working fuel gauge. And the way we would deal with that, of course, is we would just periodically stop and fill up. We would get an idea of how many gallons, of gas the car holds, how many miles to the gallon we get on average, and we'd come up with a rough number or whatever, 200 miles, right? And say every 200 miles, we stop. And with self-care, that's really the way we need to do it, is we need to periodically engage in self-care and just make sure that we stay fueled up, okay? And the thing is, think about this. This is how it works in nature too. Right now, right, it's winter. Mother Nature is kind of doing nothing, right? Well, except not really, right? Resting, recharging, getting ready for spring. And we all know what spring's like. Lots of color, lots of growth, all kinds of stuff. And it's great. Why? Well, because Mother Nature got a chance to rest. And I think we might do well if we kind of treated ourselves the same way. So I want to encourage you to think about your self-care routine, what you can do to enhance it or create one if you don't have one, and really just start to look at it as a different thing, right? Time for play, time for rest is not goofing off. It is recharging. It is making what you do sustainable. And if you're really going to make the big impact that you want and continue to do it over time, you need something sustainable, right? So that's all I got for today. Keep moving forward. Hope your week's going well. I'll talk to you soon.